welcome back to We Talk Football. I'm your host, Lance Leach.
I'm Briar Wagner.
If you haven't been to our website, wetalkfootball.org, you should go check that out. We got a lot of cool things on there, including posts about our fantasy football league. And you should also go like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Don't look too much into what's happening with our fantasy football league. I'm doing terrible this year. Don't look at it. Ignore it. Where were we? Oh, subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud, which if you're watching this, chances are you're watching it on YouTube already. So you might as well hit that subscribe button and make sure you share us with your friends.
Yeah. So we'll start out like we always do with our review of the previous week. How about the Rams beating the Cardinals 17-13? Rams move to 3-1. They're number one in the NFC West. They've won 3 straight games. They've beaten both the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And they're looking good. And I think the key to it is that everyone's focusing on Todd Gurley, and it's allowing Case Keenum to beat them. And now that they've got that figured out offensively, and Case Keenum seems to have some confidence, LA is moving forward nicely.
They are.
I don't see them hanging on to this all season long. I could see them hitting 9-7, 10-6, but not making the playoffs like the Jets last year, who went 10-6 and failed to make it. The NFC is a pretty tough conference as far as the upper tier teams.
Not to mention they're in a tough division as it is. Eventually, Seattle's going to start rolling. I firmly believe Arizona is going to figure it out. They have to. There's this roster's too talented not for them to turn it around. Bruce Arians is too good of a head coach for him not to turn it around.
But right now, LA, they have to be happy.
They have to be ecstatic. St. Louis is probably sitting there like, why the hell couldn't they do this with us?
Speaking of the Jets and the Seahawks for that matter, the Seahawks took them out 27-17. Russell Wilson finally showed up.
Jimmy Graham finally showed up.
I think what helped Russell Wilson was the fact that he had to stay in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And with the Jets, if you can throw a deep ball, you're going to beat them because they can't cover the deep pass. And so Seattle went out there and did exactly that. And Russell had over 300 yards passing. And Fitzpatrick had another awful game, threw 3 more picks. This is not the Jets offense that we saw last year.
It's not at all.
They either need to figure it out or just give up completely, put Geno Smith in and see if he's even worth the look next year, or if they need to start looking for a new quarterback.
Well, they've also got Bryce Petty, too, waiting in the wings as a possible...
Christian Hackenberg, but no, that's just... they should have never drafted. That was a mess. The Bills blanked the Patriots. In New England,
did not see that
16-0.
Did not see that coming.
I picked Buffalo, but 16-0. No, I would have never guessed. Never guessed. If you were the person who went to Vegas and said, "I want the odds on the Patriots not scoring today," you made bank.
And screw you, because Gostkowski got me nothing. Literally nothing.
Did you see the little scuffle that started before the game too?
No, but I read about it.
I
read about it.
It was awesome. Yeah. And then the last one I want to cover is the Jaguars holding off the Colts in London, 30-27. I think the point that I want to make here is that this helps prove that the Colts are not a competitor in the AFC South this season. Everyone wanted to say, with Andrew Luck back, they're going to be on top of the conference again. It's going to be between them, or the division again. It's going to be between them and the Texans. And it's not, because Drew Brees and the Saints have proven time and again you can have a great quarterback and a solid offense, but if you do not have at least an average defense, you will not get anywhere.
Way to take my thunder. I was just about to say that.
So that's the Colts don't have a good defense, and even worse, they have 3 rookies starting on their offensive line. And they just need to take what they can get this season and build next season for this next season. Mm-hmm. If you can just get something going defensively, they could be back in the running for that division. But hopefully Jacksonville. Hopefully this is a sign of what's to come.
I hope so. I really hope so. We've been picking them since for preseason, like everyone else has. We've been picking them since the season started, and it's really been disappointing. They come so close and then just fall at the end. Green Bay, they had a chance to win it. They had a chance to win it last week. I'm glad to see they finally. It was a great game. I actually turned it on to watch a bit before we headed off to wherever we went that day. But no, it was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was. I liked it.
All right, so that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
All right, for me, I'm going to kick it off with the Saints at the Chargers. So happy. Saints finally found a way to win. And big kudos to their defense, really. I don't know if it's more the defense or if it was more San Diego finding yet another way to literally lose the game. They lost that game, just like they did week 1. They turned the ball over 3 times in the span of 5 minutes. The 2 of the times were what let the Saints overcome the 13-point deficit. Breeze threw 2 touchdowns to Kuhn, I believe, or both of them, and allowed them to win 35-34. Ended the game was a pick on Rivers. I think it was like 4th and 21 anyway, so they just had to knock it down. Had insult to injury. But no, Saints finally won. I'm kind of upset that they're going into a bye week because that could affect them negatively. They're not going to be able to build off this momentum. They got the win. Now they're going to have to sit on it for another week. How about the Chargers? If anyone needed the bye week, it's the Chargers. I think you said they lost Justin Verrett now.
Jason
Verrett, excuse me. Yeah, no, they need help. They need to get rested. They need to get healed.
Yeah.
And just the worst way. I don't think they have a bye until halfway through the season. It's not looking good for them. If they keep playing like that, it's going to be a really long season. It's really unfortunate because Phillip Rivers is too talented to be on a team that's acting like this.
And he just keeps doing it. Like, they could lose the game, but you'll look at Rivers' stats and you can tell he didn't quit.
They should have won with his stats. All right, I know this one. Lance actually got to go to the Monday night Giants-Vikings game.
It was awesome.
He was scared. He was afraid he was going to curse the team.
I thought it was.
Turned out they didn't. Well, he kind of cursed his fantasy team. He lost to McKinnon, helped seal his fate there. But how about the Vikings? Their defense. They're shutting everyone up. As soon as Bridgewater went down, everyone was like, "Oh, season's over. Prepare for next year." When AP went down week 2, everyone was like, "This season's definitely over." The team, they find a way to win, and I give huge kudos to Mike Zimmer and the defense. Yeah, the defense is what's winning these games.
They held Odell Beckham to his smallest yardage total in his career, 23 yards. I think, it was 23.
Something like that, yeah. I don't know if I have that in there. But let's talk about the Giants real quick. They need to figure out how to get Odell Beckham Jr. to calm the F down, calm the bleep down. He is going to start costing this team some penalty. He's already costing the team penalty yards. He's causing a huge distraction on the sideline when, players coming off, they need to get that, find out what happened, what went wrong. But no, they have to sit here and deal with prima donna Odell Beckham Jr. Last week at Washington, throwing his helmet into a kicking net and getting hit in the face with it. He could have knocked himself out with a concussion, acting like an idiot. They need to figure out how to. It's bad enough. Tom Coughlin's like, I'm willing to talk to this kid. Former Giants head coach. They need to figure out. He needs to maybe sit him for a week, let him figure it out. I don't know. They need to figure it out. All right. Raiders at Ravens. I'm happy with this one. Oh, I'm not happy. Happy. The Raiders won. I predicted that. Not happy. Michael Crabtree, 3 touchdowns. Good for him. When the hell is Amari Cooper going to show up? Where's that AC/DC connection we've been hearing about? I'm about to cut Amari because of it. But good for it was a nice up and down game all throughout. The Ravens had to overcome a 21-12 deficit with 11:13 left. They did it. And then Carr immediately responded with a touchdown, with Crabtree's 3rd touchdown to kind of hold off the win. It's another fun game to watch this week. And then the Panthers at the Falcons. Here's my last one. I'm nervous for the Falcons. They did this last year. Started off great, 5-0. I think they went to the Saints, lost to the Saints last season, and completely fell. That was just downhill from there. I really don't want to see that this year. I think they have a better trio between Freeman, Ryan, and Jones than the Steelers do with the 3 Bs. Still some question marks on defense for the Falcons. If they can, kind of tighten up ship there, we might see a changing of the throne here if the Panthers can't figure out themselves.
Yeah, and also you look at Julio Jones and what he did, the 300-yard receiving
300 yards. I think he only got 1 touchdown. But Matt Ryan, 503 for 3 or 4 touchdowns. He had a great game. everyone was saying, sit Matt Ryan. It's the Panthers division. It's not going to be good. And he came out and said, no, I'm going to be great.
But you look at how Carolina letting go of Josh Norman, how that had an effect. How about combined last season against Carolina, Julio Jones had 16 receptions. He had 12 in that game alone. Combined yardage, he had roughly 260 yards.
He had
combined
300 in that game.
He had 300 in that game. He had one touchdown in the 2 games, and he already got that one touchdown right there. So you think Carolina's not missing Josh Norman? You're wrong.
They're missing Josh Norman. How'd you like Josh Norman's response after that beatdown? Just sipping his tea. All right, so that's what I got for my games. I thought it was overall a great week last week. Some quick injuries. Carson Palmer has been ruled out. Concussion. He will not play against San Fran.
Tomorrow,
Thursday. Cam Newton still in concussion protocol. They're not going to say. We won't find out until probably right up to. Dez Bryant's questionable with the fracture in his knee. Kevin White was just placed on IR, so if you haven't heard that yet, he's on IR. He might come back this season. He had a high ankle sprain that led to a fractured fibula. I haven't heard that. Arian Foster's returned to practice for the first time since hurting his groin in week 2. Tevin Coleman, he will play. According to Dan Quinn, he is going to play, but there might be some. He's got sickle cell trait, which causes issues at high altitude. He might be limited in that contest. So
if you have Devontae Freeman, that might be a good time for you.
Well, against the Denver Broncos, we'll touch on that later. Virgil Green back in practice. Rob Gronkowski, a lot of fantasy owners are upset with him. His one catch for 11 yards. Turns out that hamstring is still bugging him.
Madden curse.
It exists. It exists. And
I tried warning all you.
And no one listens. And Simeon or Paxton Lynch will be a game time decision. That one you'll need to keep an eye on for. This could be the start. If Simeon's out for an extended time, this might be Paxton Lynch's time to take over that team.
All right, so ready to hop into our fantasy starts and sits.
We are.
I'll kick us off with quarterback. I am saying start Ben Roethlisberger against the Jets. With the way Big Ben played last week, he should automatically be in your lineup. But Big Ben loves to throw the deep ball, and the Jets defense loves to give up the deep pass. So he could be hitting 400 yards by the end of the first half for all we know. It could be an ugly night for the Jets again.
All right, my start. I'm going to say start the rookie Carson Wentz. He's got the benefit coming off a bye week. It's going to be nice and fresh. Plus, he also gets to go against the Lions, who we all know has been struggling heavily in the secondary. And Wentz has shown it doesn't matter who he's facing, he's going to torch you. So I'm going to say start Carson Wentz. My sit, this should come as no surprise, sit Brock Osweiler. I don't think he's not playing up to his price tag. I know you don't think he's playing up. You don't think he was deserving of it.
No.
But especially this week, he's going against the Vikings, who have been phenomenal this year at shutting down opposing quarterbacks. Osweiler hasn't looked sharp. He's thrown an interception in every game. With 2 games, he's thrown 2 picks. And then the Patriots had shut him down completely. And I think the Vikings have a much better thing going for him on defense than the Patriots did. So sit Osweiler.
My sit is going to be on the opposite side of that field. I'm saying sit Sam Bradford against Houston. Houston currently ranks, I believe, second in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. I know they don't have J.J. Watt, but last week they still shut down Marcus Mariota. And like I had said, if Tennessee was going to win that game, they needed to do it behind Mariota, and they weren't able to. And also, Bradford has looked well. He's looked the part. But the problem is he's not putting up spectacular numbers, fantasy-type numbers. He's just playing solid football that's allowing the Vikings defense to do what they can do to win the game, and he's not turning the ball over. He needs to keep doing that if Minnesota wants to keep winning.
Yeah, he's doing what he does, and he's doing what he needs to do to get the win. But from a fantasy perspective, he's not doing enough to help you win games.
Right. At running back, I'm saying start LeGarrette Blount. If you're a Blount owner, it might cross your mind that you should probably drop him or bench him or something like that because Brady's back and New England's going to want to throw the crap out of the ball. And also, he may lose playing time to James White because James White's the pass catching back. But I don't see that impact happening this game for him. He's going against Cleveland, who just gave up 100-plus yards and a touchdown to Matt Jones, who this is the second time in his career that he's had a 100-yard rushing game. And the last time he did it was week 2 of last season. So that should tell you how bad Cleveland's run defense is.
All right, my start, Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, he hasn't looked great up to this point. I think this is the week he can turn it around. He's going against the Bills team that is twice now this season. They have given up over 23 points to the opposing starting running back. So all signs are pointing to Gurley this week. For my sit, talked about it earlier. I'm saying sit Coleman, but I'm also saying sit Freeman as well. They've been great. They slaughtered my Saints 2 weeks ago. They ran all over the Panthers. I don't see them doing that against the Broncos. The Broncos have a far better defense than both of those two combined. And I think this one, I don't think they're going to have the same opportunities that they've had the last couple of weeks to get open.
I'm saying sit Carlos Hyde. He's had back-to-back double-digit point games, but he's going against Arizona. And if Arizona's without Carson Palmer, I almost said Wentz. Almost threw me off.
He's definitely without him too.
They're without Carson Palmer, so if they're gonna get through this game against San Fran and move to 2-3 and at least get one division game under their belt, they're going to have to shut down the run game for San Fran. And that's not going to be a difficult process for them because San Fran is sitting in the same boat as LA. They have the run game, and the passing game's not going to put the fear of God into anybody. So they're going to stack the box against Hyde like they did against Gurley, and they're going to shut Hyde down like they did Gurley. They're going to make San Fran beat him through the air. So if you have Hyde, I'd bench him, put somebody else in.
Start at receiver.
Yeah, my start for receiver is Jamison Crowder against Baltimore. Crowder had a down week against the Browns last week, but he had a couple of good games before that. And now he's going against the Ravens secondary that just gave up 4 touchdowns to receivers. Like you mentioned, 3 to Crabtree, 1 to Seth Roberts. Seth Roberts is the Raiders slot receiver, in case you didn't know. And Crowder is the Washington Redskins slot receiver. So I think Crowder is going to have a pretty good-sized game.
I'm saying start the Giants rookie, Sterling Shepard. Green Bay, surprisingly, is ranked near the bottom of the league. You discount the bye week, they're ranked near the bottom in allowing passing yards. I think at 307 yards a clip, but they're number 1 against the run. So the Giants, they're not going to be running the ball much, if at all. It's going to be all through the air. Look for Sterling Shepard to get a lot of looks.
Plus, the Giants' running game is kind of depleted.
It was injuries. Yeah, don't even talk to me about it. All right, my sit, Larry Fitzgerald, just kind of goes without saying. Carson Palmer, he's been confirmed out. That's going to hurt this offensive unit. I'm going to look to the Cardinals running the game more instead of going through the air.
My sit is DeAndre Hopkins against Minnesota. In back-to-back weeks, Xavier Rhodes has shut down Kelvin Benjamin and Odell Beckham. And he's done it because Zimmer runs the type of defense where he can adjust formations, and he uses Harrison Smith the correct way to shut down the big-time receiver for the opposing team. DeAndre Hopkins is that guy for Houston until, Will Fuller keeps going up, which is where he's going.
So.
But
I really hope so.
Hopkins managed 1 catch against Tennessee last week, and Tennessee does not compare to Minnesota's defense. Sit DeAndre Hopkins unless you're like me, where injuries and bye weeks force you to kind of leave him in your lineup.
In which case, cross your fingers and hope that he puts up more than 0.7 points.
Yeah, please. My start at tight end is Cameron Brate against Carolina. Last week, the Panthers gave up 2 touchdowns to tight ends. I think there were 2 separate tight ends, but for Tampa Bay with Austin Seferian-Jenkins gone, Brate has managed 10 receptions off of 18 targets for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns in those 2 games since Austin Seferian-Jenkins was cut. So
that's impressive.
I think he could end up having a really, really nice game for somebody out there.
My start, Zach Ertz. First time hearing his name all season. This is his first game back. At least I'm almost 100% sure he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
so,
he's on my team, and that's what they're telling me.
So. Everything I've said, Ertz is playing. Start him. This is a great game for him to come back. Lions have given up the most touchdowns to tight ends this season at 6. and they're only second to Green Bay in allowing points to tight ends. So Ertz should have a phenomenal game back. My sit, Dennis Pitta. Pitta has put up less than 5 points in his 3 out of 4 games. He's put up 5 or less points. He's going against the Redskins, who have been phenomenal at home and shutting down tight ends, only allowing 4.8 points to tight ends. So sit Pitta until they can start figuring out this.
I think that bromance everyone keeps talking about has been a little.
He's getting the targets. He's just not capitalizing. So
my sit is Eric Ebron against Philly. One, he's dealing with an ankle and a knee injury, which is not unusual for him. We're used to seeing him hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to play, but even with him on the field for Detroit, I would leave him on your bench in fantasy because Philly is allowing the least amount of points to tight ends, and they're coming off a bye week, so that defense is going to be fresh. My start at kicker, I say this every time, but for those people who are now watching, we like to choose kickers and defenses, or I like to choose kickers and defenses that you'll see on the waiver wire because a lot of people like to stream kickers and defenses. So my start at kicker is Ryan Suckup from Tennessee going against Miami. The Dolphins are allowing a little over 22 points per game, and the Titans have had their struggles in the red zone. So you could see Tennessee move the ball, and we could also see them get shut down within field goal range. So it could be a good game for Suckup.
My start, Mason Crosby for the Pack. Giants have been giving up the most points to kickers, allowing, I think they're averaging 11.7 points to kickers, which is great from a kicker. They've even let up 17 points to 2 different kickers this season. So my sit, I'm sitting Jankowski. The Chargers have, their defense has given up a lot of points. The points for kickers, however, have only come off PATs. They don't really give up field goals, mostly because teams can score touchdowns when they get that close down. So sit Janikowski. He's only going to get you PATs.
For me, I'm saying sit Matt Prater against Philly. Like I already said, Philly's defense is coming off a bye week. They're going to be fresh. And they've only allowed 9 points per game this season, which has been a huge surprise for most of us. I'm sure you Eagles fans are saying that's not a surprise, but hey. I'd say that stat.
Right, Eagles fans. Psh.
I'd say that stat is helped a little by the fact that they faced off against the Browns and Bears in Week 1 and 2, but they also managed to hold the Steelers' offense to 3 points. So, this could be a long day for that Lions offense. My start at defense is Pittsburgh against the Jets. In the last 2 games, Fitzpatrick has thrown 9 interceptions, which, if I'm not wrong, he's the second person in NFL history to do that in a 2-game span.
I think he's also leading the league in interceptions right now.
It just isn't the same Jets offense that we saw last season. And
even earlier this season, the first 2 games, they looked pretty good. Then they went to Kansas City and have imploded on themselves.
The Steelers could take advantage, especially if Big Ben gets rolling early and forces the Jets to play catch up, because then they're going to be forced to pass the ball, and we could see more turnovers. And with Decker still out, could get ugly.
All right, my start, I'm going to say start Oakland. We saw New Orleans took advantage of quite a bit of getting some turnovers last week against the Chargers. The Chargers, they haven't had good luck with injuries. I think Oakland is way more opportunistic when forcing turnovers than the Saints were. So I see Oakland, and they're at home too. So Oakland, I can see having a much better
and a division game. They're going to be playing.
They're going to be amped. And then coming off that win from Baltimore, that should help get some momentum going. I'm sitting the Jets. Like you said, once the Steelers get going, which we know they can, I think the Eagles game rattled them. They're not going to let that happen again. Once they get going, like Lance said, they can't stop the deep ball. They can't at all, and that's what the Steelers like to do. Sit the Jets, especially if you play in a league where you lose points due to how many points the opposing team scores.
And if they do decide to just drop everybody deep, then they're just going to hand the ball off to Bell. And
Bell's going to make them
run wild. So my sit is the Rams against Buffalo. In 2 of Buffalo's first 4 games, their offense has posted over 30 points. Tyrod has only turned the ball over twice, both on interceptions. He hasn't fumbled. And LaShawn McCoy has yet to turn the ball over.
Knock on wood.
knock on wood for all. I apologize to all you McCoy
Now he's
owners.
going to fumble it 3 times.
It just Buffalo is not turning the ball over. They're playing good, sound football, and LA kind of capitalizes on being able to get to the quarterback and force him to hurry himself. So I'm going to say Buffalo's not a team that you want to be starting a defense against right now.
Nope.
So we'll move right into our weekly picks now.
Last week we did so much better for those of you that saw.
Yes.
I went
we
10 and
did.
5, I believe. You went 12 and 3.
Yes.
Much better. Much better.
So we'll try and keep that rolling forward.
Hope so.
For Thursday night, I have Arizona beating San Fran. Even without Carson Palmer, I feel like Arizona has way more talent than San Fran. Drew Stanton's in, but San Fran has Blaine Gabbert playing quarterback, so it's not like it's a downgrade. I feel like they're more even than anything. And if the Cardinals shut down the running game for San Fran, then Gabbert's going to have to try and beat Matthew and Peterson and hang on to or get rid of the ball fast enough so Chandler Jones can't get back there because he's having a solid start to his season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arizona's defense is going to shut down San Fran, and their offense will be able to put up enough points to get them through with the victory.
This one's tough. I'm gonna say I would pick the Niners here if Navarro Bowman wasn't just lost for the season. That's a huge blow for this defense.
Yeah,
he was the main gear to making this defense run fluid. Arizona, I think it is a huge setback losing Carson Palmer. Drew Stanton, he doesn't have much time under his belt. He doesn't have that chemistry built with the offense. And we see sometimes that can really affect how teams gel, especially on a short week like this. But Arizona, they do have more talent on defense. It should maybe cause some turnovers, set the offense up in some good position to be able to capitalize. So I'm taking Arizona in this as well. All right, Washington at Baltimore. This one might be my flip game. I'm going to take Washington in this one. I think the Baltimore, we saw what happened when Baltimore actually faced a real team. Like I said last week, they were 3-0, facing 2 teams that up to that point had not won a game, and one team that had just won the week prior. We saw what happened. They faced a real team. The Redskins, I think they can turn it around, start making things happen. So I'm going to take the Redskins.
I'm going with Washington also. I think that with Jordan Reed and Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, and Jameson Crowder, the Baltimore defense struggles to shut down receivers, and I guess they do a decent job against tight ends, but they haven't faced somebody like Jordan Reed yet. If Kirk Cousins can keep himself from turning the ball over, Washington will win this game. So I'm going with the Skins too. Next, we got the Patriots at Cleveland.
Don't think we really need to talk about this one.
Not really. It's going to be New England, unless Cleveland can pull off some sort of miracle. Tom Brady's back. You're not going to want to watch it. It's going to be a massacre.
It should be, and it's been every game other than the Miami game that Cleveland has played has been a massacre. This is Tom Brady. They haven't faced a quarterback like him yet, so I'm taking the Patriots as well. Philadelphia, Detroit. I think we're both in agreement here. Philadelphia, coming off the bye week, going to be completely fresh. This offense is rolling well under Wentz. Detroit's secondary is hurting bad. Not to mention Philly's defense has been a nice surprise this season. So they should have no problem shutting down Detroit's offense.
I'm going with Philly also. Same reasons that he just stated. Stafford looked good in a couple of games. He didn't look great against Chicago last week, and Chicago's pass defense is one of the worst in the league. So I think he's going to struggle against Philly. And Detroit's pass defense, like you said, is not good, and Carson Wentz is doing very well right now. So yeah.
All right.
Next, we got Chicago at Indianapolis, and I'm taking Indy. It's not going to be so much of a defensive game, but Chicago's offense isn't built to keep up with what Indy can do. So
what they can do, not what they always do. But I'm taking the home team. Chicago, even with Cutler, their offense was sporadic at best. Now that they have Hoyer back there, even with Indianapolis' problems on defense, They shouldn't have any problem stopping. They're missing Chicago's missing Jeremy Langford, missing Cutler, missing Kevin White now. So they're hurting in really bad ways.
Yeah.
Tennessee at Miami. I wonder if this game's even going to happen because of the hurricane. Mm-hmm. But regardless, I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. I think this should be the week that Mariota gets out of this kind of sophomore slump. Him and Winston have both been in a weird sophomore slump this year. It happens. But DeMarco Murray has been running really well. They got Derrick Henry who's been doing well. Miami almost got beat by Cleveland 2 weeks ago. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee also. I think that defensively, Tennessee is playing better ball right now than Miami, which is surprising because Miami has more weapons, especially
even
in that
with
front
those
seven.
weapons,
especially in that front seven. But Tannehill is not playing well. That offense isn't going the way that everyone was hoping that they were going to with Adam Gase playing coaching. I think that Mariota, Tajay Sharp will find his footing in this game, and DeMarco Murray is playing outstanding football right now. So I got to go with Tennessee. Next, we got Houston at Minnesota. I'm not going to pick against the Vikings this week. I didn't last week, and I didn't jinx them, so I'm going to go with Minnesota again this week. I think that Houston showed their true colors when they faced New England 2 weeks ago, that they're a good team, but they're not a team that's ready to compete with the better teams in the league right now, and Minnesota is one of those teams, especially with that defense. I think Osweiler's going to struggle, and I'm really worried about putting Hopkins in my lineup, but I don't have a choice. So
yeah, I'm with you. I got Fuller, and I don't have any choice either. But no, I can't pick against the Vikings. I can't pick them while they're at home either. This Vikings team is way too good. The new stadium is like perfect for them.
That new stadium is amazing.
You can attest to that. I've heard it's loud.
It's so loud.
That makes it problems for the teams. I've heard it's even too loud for the Vikings. They kind of want fans to quiet it down.
Or at least we were when they were on offense. But when the Giants were on offense, boy, that place was rocking constantly too. After that screen pass, before the screen pass, it was loud. After that screen pass that went 60 yards, it got louder. So
we might have to get the Guinness World of Records in there. Maybe we've got a new loudest stadium. All right, the Jets at Pittsburgh. I'm sure we're both in agreement here. Pitt needs to throw it deep all day. If they try to drop everyone deep, Bell's going to run all over them. Pitt.
Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh too. I already said it's going to be the deep ball. It's going to kill the Jets, and the Jets trying to play catch-up this season have already shown that they can't do it. So, next we got Atlanta at Denver, and I'm going with the upset here. I know that Denver's undefeated. I know their defense is playing very, very good football again, and I know that they're at home. But I have to go with the hot hand. Matt Ryan is playing outstanding football, and until he does his little drop-off like he likes to do generally each season. If he does. I hope he doesn't. I like Matt Ryan, and I really like what he's doing. So, but 503 yards and 4 touchdowns a week ago, 300 yards, I think, in each one of the games prior to that, maybe a 200-yard game in there.
That, yep.
He's playing great football. I have to go with Matt Ryan, and I think that Atlanta's defense isn't great, but they're strong enough to compete against a young quarterback like Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch.
See, I've got to take the home team in this. Defense wins championships, and with a defense like Denver, they showed it last year. You don't need to have a good offense. They went and won a Super Bowl. Yeah, they had Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning got benched. They don't need Trevor Siemian, if he plays, he's been playing great himself. I mean, look what he did to Cincinnati. I think Denver, like I said earlier, he's going to shut down the running game. They're going to make him start forcing to pass the ball. I'm not sure about Mohamed Sanu's status. Did he play? I know he's.
I don't know what's going on.
I know he's nursing an injury.
It doesn't really matter though. Ryan's hitting like 8 to 10 different receivers in each game right now.
I think they've got they've got what they need to do to shut down, and going to play in a high altitude that affects people too. Julio's not going to put up 300 yards. He's going to get gassed well before that. I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the defense in this one. All right, Cincinnati at Dallas. This one could be either as well, but I'm gonna take the home team. I really like what Prescott's doing. I really need him to do well this week because Breeze is on bye. Elliott's been playing some really good ball. I like what Dallas is doing, and just the fact that Dallas is at home should help a lot. Cincinnati, I think they're showing some signs that they've kind of flustered a little bit since losing Hugh Jackson. It's not the same offense that we were used to last year. So I'm going to take Dallas in this.
I'm going with Cincinnati on one little speculation that Eifert is supposed to play, and if
he took a setback in practice today, he was limping around throughout the practice facility. But
if he does play, Cincinnati is going to get their red zone threat back. The problem that Cincinnati has been having offensively is that they've scored, I think, 5 touchdowns on 13 red zone trips.
That's bad.
Yeah, they need to get Eifert back so that offense can get moving back in that 20 yards to the end zone area. But yeah, I'm going with Cincinnati. I think that last week with AJ Green and what Dalton and him were able to do against Miami, Dallas's corners, they don't scare me. I mean, I don't know, maybe they scare you. But
I like Dallas's corners better than Miami's corners. Miami's defense is all screwed up. They've carried over their screwed upness from last year.
But I'll take Andy Dalton over the rookie. So Cincy.
Don't you jinx me.
Next we have Buffalo at LA, and this is kind of the same sort of deal with Cincinnati and Dallas. I think that Buffalo and LA have very similar defenses, maybe not in schemes, but in the way that they're built, and they have 2 very great defensive minds with Rex Ryan and Greg Williams. But Buffalo's got Tyrod Taylor, and they have LaShawn McCoy. And Tyrod showed last week that he doesn't need Sammy Watkins because he can still get it done. And LA's got Case Keenum. And Todd Gurley is not playing very good football right now, so I'm going with Buffalo.
Yeah, I talked up. I said Gurley. This should be the week that that Gurley, kind of pops off. He starts doing what we saw last year, what he could do. But I can't ignore the fact that Buffalo's got a more complete offense. They're built. I mean, like Lance said earlier, they are able to put up 30 points in a game. We've seen it twice already this season. LA, didn't score their first touchdown until week 3. They're not built for these high-powered games. So if it starts getting out of hand, LA is going to get left in the dust. So I'm taking Buffalo as well. San Diego at Oakland. Kind of alluded to it earlier. I like Oakland. They're coming off a huge win, knocking off one of the few remaining undefeated teams. They're playing at home. The Chargers are hurting all across the field now that they've lost, Verrett on defense, that hopefully will allow Amari Cooper to score his first touchdown of the season. I hope he can finally start scoring. But if not, Michael Crabtree put up 3 touchdowns last week. There shouldn't be any reason why he can't do it this week now that, their top corner is gone. So I like Oakland in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Oakland too. Their one loss this season came at home, so that does worry me a little bit. But
it did come to the Falcons.
Yeah, but San Diego does have too many injuries, and it's going to be tough for them to overcome. If anyone can do it, it would be Phillip Rivers, but I don't know. I like Oakland with the way they're playing right now. You can't really bet against them. Giants at Green Bay for Sunday Night Football, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay. I'm going with Green Bay. Manning just hasn't looked good. That offense hasn't looked like themselves. Green Bay's pass defense is their biggest flaw right now, but I have to wonder if the Giants' passing offense is even going to be able to do anything. And then the way Rodgers and Jordy played 2 weeks ago before their bye week.
They're playing well.
They are playing well, and Green Bay's rested. They're coming off a bye week. I'm going with, and the Giants are coming off of a fairly depressing loss.
Not that it's also been a short week for them.
Yeah.
Because it was Monday night game. Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay in this as well. Yeah, their pass defense isn't the greatest, but no, like Lance said, their passing offense has been terrible. It's bad when the Saints defense holds you without a touchdown. That doesn't happen. Not against the Saints. Green Bay, I like to think they've got a better second. They've at least got a better front seven, so they should be in there to disrupt Eli. You can't bet against Rodgers and Jordy, who they definitely missed. This is the Green Bay offense that we were missing last season. I'm taking Green Bay. All right, for our Monday night game, Tampa Bay at Carolina. I don't know if I want to say that this should be a good game or if this is going to be a bad game. Both teams, Tampa Bay, shocked everyone. They beat Atlanta week 1 in a great game. Carolina, their only win is against the Niners. Mm-hmm. So, but I want to say this depends on if Cam Newton plays. If Cam Newton doesn't play, I'm going to give my edge to Tampa. Signs are pointing Cam's not going to play. He's in concussion protocol right now. I'm going to take Tampa. I think Tampa will pull it. This would be an upset, but they already showed that when it comes to a division game, look what they did to the Falcons, who have been great this season. So, I'll take Tampa.
I went back and forth on this one. I had Carolina, I had Tampa Bay, I had Carolina, and then I was thinking about the Cam Newton part of it, and I was gonna say that if Cam Newton plays, Carolina wins, but if Cam Newton doesn't play, Tampa Bay wins. But I don't think it really matters. Cam Newton's not playing good football right now.
He's not.
The Broncos showed it, and then the Vikings pounced on it. That
sacked him 8 times.
All you got to do is put pressure on him. He hangs onto the ball way too long, and if you can get in there and frustrate him, everything just goes downhill. So I'm going with Tampa Bay, and I think that what they need to be doing is telling Gerald McCoy and Noah Spence and Greg Johnson and the rest of their defensive line that, hey, you get in there and you hit them, and you keep hitting them, and you keep hitting them. And if Cam Newton's not playing, then you tell him to get in there and keep hitting Derek Anderson because that's not a problem anyways. But if you don't give the quarterback time, and the Panthers' offensive line isn't built to protect against the pass right now, not with the way they're playing. If you don't give the quarterback time, he doesn't have enough time to exploit your weakness in your secondary. And then Jameis, I think all he needs to do is just watch what Matt Ryan did. You're not going to be able to put up numbers like that with Matt Ryan, but if you can figure out what he found wrong in that secondary, you can exploit the same problem. So
he might not be able to put up the same numbers, but if he keeps, hitting Mike Evans, and I wish Doug Martin was coming back, that'd be another piece. But they've, got Charles Sims, who's not, a terrible running back. But if Derek Anderson is playing, that Carolina offense, which has made them so dangerous, the fact that Newton can run it at a moment's notice. There's got to always be someone watching him. Derek Anderson's not that type of quarterback. That's going to allow them to, not have to account for the quarterback, near as much. It's just not going to be a good day for them.
Yeah. So that sums up our podcast. If you have any questions for us, don't be afraid to email or send us a message on Facebook or leave us a comment.
Tweet us. There's many ways to get a hold of us.
Yeah. Come check us out again next week.
See ya.